put things in perspective, 97 years ago, Calvin Coolidge became our 30th president. 97 years ago, the Cotton Club opened its doors in Harlem, New York. 97 years ago, Garrett A. Morgan patented the stoplight, which would later be known as the traffic light. 97 years ago, Rosewood Massacre occurred. The Florida town was burned to the ground by the Ku Klux Klan. And 97 years ago, the Queen of Blues, Bessie Smith, recorded her first song, Downhearted Blues, that sold 800,000 copies. 97 years ago was the year 1923, the year my grandfather was born.
Happy birthday.
This past August, we celebrated his 97th birthday. So my grandfather is the last living person of his generation in our family. My grandfather has lived through the Roaring 20s, Prohibition, the Great Migration, the Great Depression, fought and survived World War II, and witnessed the heroics of many during the Civil Rights Movement. He's lived through 16 different presidencies. Suffice it to say, he's seen it all. So after months of persistent persuasion from my mother, I realized that it was time to interview my grandfather. If there's anything that this pandemic has taught me, it's that we shouldn't wait. Like seriously, wait for what? Initially, I was going to interview my grandfather, but then I thought it might be a very unique experience to have my 70-year-old mother, who is his last remaining child, to interview him.
Was that
Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Met Adam Clayton Powell Jr. my first year in college.
What was he doing there?
He was there for Sunday afternoon service that we had, so I had the opportunity to meet him.
It was pretty powerful to watch my mother sit in wonderment as she learned details about her father that she never knew. So I'm not actually sure what I'm gonna do with the footage that I got, but I do find comfort in knowing that I captured it. So I have it, and it's something that can be passed down, and his great-grandchildren can look at it and see him and hear his voice and hear his story. If you have somebody in your family that's 85 years or older, or not even that old, but older than you, sit down and talk to them. Listen to their stories, listen to their experiences. You'll be surprised at what you find out. You may find some similarities, and you may learn something about yourself. So thank you so very much for watching the vlog today. I'll see you next week, and in the meantime, I'll leave you with this.
Now, was the Navy, was it segregated? Did they have a section for, you were not all together, were you?
We had our quarters, but most of the blacks that were on the ship were, as they call them, steward mates. They cooked, cleaned, and waited on the officers. And I was not one of them. I was an officer's cook. I stayed in the galley. I would go out on the deck and look to see what was going on. Matter of fact, I was out looking when a Japanese kamikaze caught one of the aircraft carriers with the elevator down that brings planes up to the flight deck, and it dived in there. And the next day we were one of the group that went to take that aircraft carrier back down to Ulithi. It was damaged, and they were having burials at sea all day.